going on, everyone? Welcome to episode 34 of the Potty Mouths podcast. I'm your co-host, Greg.
And I'm Vinny.
And we're going to get into what was the quarterfinals of the CFP. Then we'll go into our Flush Wipe Dipe. And then we'll preview some NFL games that actually matter this weekend, week 18. We'll give you our flush picks. We each picked two NFL games, lines, whatever. Two little actions each on the NFL. We're gonna save our college picks for next week when we get into the semifinals of the CFP, and then we'll do the pop culture minute, which Vin actually might have a clue about this one. We'll see, and then we're out of here. We'll send you into the weekend. First things first, before Vin gets into the CFP and all that, just want to give well wishes to the families of the victims of the tragic act in New Orleans. City's special to me because I went to school down there, so I was in New Orleans probably a little too much when I should have been in Baton Rouge studying. But heart goes out to New Orleans, all the families of all the victims of that senseless act. So, with that said, we'll get into the world of sports, and Vin will kick us off with the little CFP.
CFP action this past week. Opening game, Penn State versus Boise State. Penn State 31, Boise State 14. Drew Aller, 171 yards, 3 touchdowns. Tyler Warren, 6 for 63 and 2 touchdowns. I watched most of this game. It was tough. It was interesting because there was some points in that game in the first half, especially that I'm like, all right, Boise has a chance to kind of cut into this a little bit. Jetney couldn't really get going, I didn't think. I hate the conversation that, because he had not a great game, that he isn't everything he's supposed to be. He's everything he's supposed to be. Because if you watch half the plays that he doesn't have the ball, there's three guys are running to him on what they think is going to be him getting the ball, which opens up other plays. So if you have one guy drawing three on a front, that's you're doing. They obviously respect you and they obviously know what you can do. So a little disappointed in this game. I thought Boise could give a little bit more of a game here, but Penn State just their running back played pretty good. Tight end, 2 big touchdowns for them. Your thoughts on this matchup here in this Boise State Penn State matchup?
Yeah, I wish it was closer. Kind of lost interest late. Genty tried to get going late. He had some decent plays. I think he finished like 28 yards short of the record, the rushing record. So that stays with Barry, right? But I don't know. I mean, we'll get into the other 3 games. I'll just say it now rather than wait till after we do the Georgia game. But we've seen 8 games. We've had 1 good quarter.
Yeah, right. That's true.
We've seen 4 teams go on the road, a true road game. They didn't have a chance. We saw 4 teams have a bye. Only 1 played well. So this is, and they all lost. All the bye teams lost. So we'll see if there's a little shakeup. I did hear on the radio a few days ago that I believe only the SEC chair and the Notre Dame spokesman that wanted reseeding.
Interesting.
After the first round, I believe it was them. It could have been the Big Ten chair and not the SEC. It was definitely the Notre Dame representative there. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, back to this game. I was waiting the whole time for Boise State to do something to rack up some yards. Penn State's defense is legit. I know they revamped the offense, the tight end. Everyone's ranting and raving. I don't see the Brock Bowers in him. He is good. He does get contested balls. He's a good athlete. I see maybe like a poor man's Hawkinson. Um, I don't know if I see Bowers or Kelsey or Kittle or anyone, but we'll see. I'm sure he'll improve and get better and all that with better coaching and all that in the NFL. But as for the game, I lost interest. I think I stopped watching late in the fourth because it was at it.
Yeah,
I don't know. Lost interest.
Hand. Yep, I'm with you. The next day's game.
I wanted it to be good. It just wasn't.
But the next day's game, I think, is what the one quarter of football that you were talking about that was good. Texas,
yeah,
Arizona
we got a very
State.
good quarter. We got one good quarter.
Yeah. Texas, Arizona State, Texas 39, Arizona State 31. Cam Scatterbo, 143 yards, 2 touchdowns, 8 receiving yards, 99 yards, passing TD on, I guess, what they call the Philly special. It was definitely by far the best second half, fourth quarter that you've seen in a long time out of all of these games, no matter what. But Arizona State obviously fell short in overtime. It was a fun game. Texas wins, Arizona State covers, right?
Yes.
It was a fun game. I honestly, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't really have a lot of interest in this whole situation because I don't have a dog in the race here in this playoff. But this by far was the most interesting game that I've watched at all. And I watched all the games except the Notre Dame game because I didn't realize it started so early yesterday. But
oh, really?
Impressive. Yeah, I honestly I know they changed the time, but I texted you. I'm like, it's a weird time for this to start. And
I figured you had gotten home, but I thought you knew it was at 4.
No, I was working, unfortunately. But yeah, so that's probably the most I've seen of Scatterbo play, and yeah, he's a good. I don't think he's like a star running back in the NFL. If anybody who thought that was the situation, he's could be like a hybrid, like fullback almost. I guess I don't know. I don't see him being like a every down back in the NFL, in my opinion. Like a really, I don't know. I could be completely wrong, but he's good. He's a good college player. There's a lot of really good college players, but I don't know if he has that every down back mentality. Not mentality, but ability, I guess, in that sense. But a little disappointing too, in the way the interception at the end of the game. But it was a good game. It was fun to watch. Hoping that they won Arizona State, honestly.
Yeah, to just different point of view. Like I have one dog in the fight now because now I'm rooting for SEC because I have my friend. Well, he's my friend, but he's my friend's cousin keeps texting me that Ohio State's not going to lose. Yada. I go, dude, you lost twice already. But
yeah, they look
so
good.
I have a dog, and then I don't know who he was on the radio last night. I drove to the bank, had to make a little deposit. Driving home, and this guy on ESPN Radio, and he was like the D crew. I don't know who he was. He was just like shredding the SEC because of the Final Four, but I don't know if he realizes that Texas is in the SEC. So I don't know. I don't know where he went to school. I don't know who he was, but he was shredding the SEC, and then a couple hours later, Duke got pounded into the dirt by Ole Miss. LSU won their bowl game. Florida won their bowl game. Somehow Illinois beat South Carolina. That was surprising. But again, bowl games, there's opt-outs, there's portal kids. Coaches are leaving. Who cares? It's not the same. It's not like it was. Bowl games don't determine the AP national title anymore. So With that said, one was my flush pick. Texas was covering for 3 freaking quarters. Scatabo won me over. I didn't like all the arrogance and the cockiness and all the
Right.
bulletin board material he was putting out there. But you know what? He played his balls off. He did damn well. He kept his team in it. He almost won it for him. Um, but I think the better roster won. They didn't play great. They're still my pick to win it all, but I do believe that Ohio State versus Texas is the national title. No disrespect, a little disrespect to Penn State and Notre Dame. Notre Dame can win it all. I don't think Penn State has a chance. But Notre Dame looked terrible on offense. Other than we'll get to the stats in that game, but I think Texas Ohio State is the title game. Um, and what Texas has that no other school does, if they come out and play bad like Oregon did, they have a guy on the bench that you could insert him and they could win that game. So I'm not predicting that Arch Manning will have a say in next week's game, but he might if viewers isn't holding his end of the bargain. But good win for Texas. Good test. Now they go home. Now they go to the Cotton Bowl, right? So that'll be a nice little advantage for them. Home cooking. Um, and I'm rooting for Texas. And I'm not normally the SEC guy waving the flag for them that outright, but I am now. Um, I thought Georgia would have won. That was a bad fumble. The end of the second half, but yeah, exciting fourth quarter, good overtime. Was it like 4th and 13? Texas won it. On that, well, Texas took the lead with that touchdown, and then the pick late. I put up the picture of it. That was the best, and sadly, that might be the best quarter we see in
Yeah.
the CFP. Probably not. I think one of these next 3 games will be very good. I hope, but yeah, on to the next game. I'm just rambling at this point, but good win, good game.
Ohio State, Oregon, Rose Bowl. Ohio State put a beating on a Oregon team, which I thought was going to win this game. I think we both did. I think that's what we were both hoping for as well. Howard, 319, 3 touchdowns. Smith, 7 catches, 187 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Ohio State dominated this game. Gabriel looked like that. It looked like it was his first game he's played. It was
Yeah, he's
bad.
played like 70.
A million, yeah, and they looked like they were so unprepared, and Ohio State
I don't.
just outperformed and ran
I'll
by
say
everybody.
this: if Ohio State runs the table, I think Michigan should get rings.
It's a good idea.
I think
Absolutely.
I think Michigan won Ohio State the national championship if that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, they fired it. They set the fire. Listen, this wasn't even a game. This was a complete
Yeah,
disaster for Oregon, which is embarrassing for them being where they were all year, ranked the hell they were, which rightfully so, right? They didn't have any any losses, right, going into this.
yeah,
So here you go. Here's your loss. Now you go home. And Ohio State made sure that it was loud and clear that they were by far the superior team. Well, a lot. Watch the game. So much more prepared in certain situations. Oregon just looked completely lost, and that's the result you're going to get there in the Rose Bowl.
yeah. You could argue that throughout the year there were seeds of doubt with Oregon. With they barely beat Boise at home. They they were lucky to beat Wisconsin.
Yep.
And then even Penn State scored a ton of points on them in the Big Ten title game. So there were the seeds of doubt. I didn't know why Ohio State was favored, but I
Right.
but I but I wouldn't have been shocked if they won. But I was pretty impressed with how they
Did
wiped the
win.
floor with them.
Howard was
Um,
throwing balls in spots and areas that were just incredible. He looked really good, I thought.
yeah, and that's that's a surprise to me, to be honest. That I've beaten up on the kid a little bit, but Yeah, no, I mean they're gonna play like that. Texas has got to bring everything, and
Yeah.
Notre Dame's got to get Riley Leonard to throw. I did not put his passing stats up from yesterday. It was not good. Um, so I don't know the odds. I haven't looked at lines. The game's a week away. I assume Ohio State is the favorite to win it all. That is my assumption, but I don't know. I
I
didn't
would
look at anything.
probably agree on that at this point.
Um, they took care of Tennessee and they took care of Oregon. Um, so we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I think Texas will be prepared. I like Sark. But we'll see. Impressive showing out of Ohio State.
Last game was postponed to yesterday. Notre Dame at Georgia. Oh, well, against Georgia. Notre Dame wins 23-10. Leonard, 14 carries, 80 yards. I think I saw at one point this game was like 3-3. I'm leaving work. I go pick up my dinner, and it's 13-3. And literally, I just drove down maybe 8 minutes down the road. I was shocked to
Yeah,
see that, and not
little
shocked that they won.
fluky,
I had
little
them to win.
fluky.
I didn't have them losing to Georgia.
Yeah,
I think they're, if you're talking Ohio State might be the favorite. I think at this particular point they might be the second to win this whole thing. They've they caught my attention when they wiped the floor with Army. I know everyone's gonna say, oh, it was Army, and this no, Army was ranked and they were playing damn good football all year.
they did the same to Navy, and Navy at the
Right.
time was same thing.
So that was when I caught my eye, and I'm like, you know what? They're pretty good, and they're very well coached. Um, so not surprising for me. I had them winning. Notre Dame, Penn State. The very interesting matchup should be a good game. They're both obviously they're both going to be good games. We hope they are. But
You hope.
No, good win for Notre Dame. Coach Freeman here. Just got to get a quarterback out of the portal and believe in the system, and they got a lot of good athletes around them too. So that's a good program win. It's still frustrating to see them not be in a conference, and we've talked about that many times on this podcast. But it's time to step up to the plate and join in, and it's interesting because if let's say what would you touched on it before? What would the reseeding be based off of, and how is it because there's no like definitive
That's a good
answer.
question. It's a good question. I don't.
Is it
I
strength
guess
of
it would be like
schedule? Like
I guess it
I
would be
don't.
like the NFL where the rankings actually hold weight.
Yeah, but like some of these guys play cupcakes some points during the year. Like
Yeah.
you get to your rankings through like Army Navy in a normal year aren't as good as they are. What they had a good season. Where does that hold water for them if that was the case per se? If they were to reseed off of that.
That I'm not sure.
No, it's just an interesting conversation because I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know what the criteria could be because these teams are all the schedules are so scattered with, and then it comes back into the SEC conversation where their strength of schedule is superior to everybody else that's even in this.
I mean, back to where I wish I knew who it was. Someone on ESPN Radio, but like Texas took care. Texas eliminated the ACC, the winner, champion, and then they did the same with Arizona State, who was the Big 12 champion. So whatever. But and if they win beat Ohio State, then they took care of the arguably the best conference this year, and they're runner up. But no, I don't know. There should be, and we'll get into it with Flush Wipe Diet. Spoiler alert. But there should be maybe some modifications to this. But I want to touch on the one thing Vin said when he was driving and he saw the score. It was 3-3. Then it was 6-3. 6-3 Notre Dame. About 2 minutes left, and Kirby got a little aggressive with Stockton. He gets rushed, fumbles it at like the 12, maybe the 9, I don't remember. But and then Notre Dame goes right in. So what should have been 6-3 at the half was then 13-3, and then they returned the freaking kickoff. So a little fluky, and then Georgia just couldn't do enough with their backup quarterback. And Georgia couldn't defend these little stupid. And again, Leonard did not look good passing. That's why I put up the 14 carries for 80 yards. That's what sealed the deal. Georgia's defense was running around like chickens with their head cut off, just trying to get into the backfield and make a stop. And Notre Dame was just getting, if they needed 5 yards, they got 6 or 7. If they needed 4 yards, they got 5 or 6. It was like just little death by 100 little paper cuts. But they did what they needed to do. Like you said, well-coached team. Freeman's respected, and those players love him. So
yeah, it's awesome. That's
we'll see. So you as good as it was to have Indiana, SMU, Arizona State, the Final Four, they're household names. They're powerhouses in college football from the very first days of the sport. So
that kid from Indiana, played with a torn ACL that he blew
I
his
heard
knee
that.
out in August. That's crazy.
I heard his agent just put that out there.
Yeah. I got another question too about Georgia fans. Since do most women in the stands wear Legion of Doom pads in the stands? Is that part of the program?
It's red and black, right? That's the Legion of Doom, LOD.
It's pretty cool, I guess. I mean,
I think they look better than the those weirdos in the black hole, the Vegas, LA black hole. Those guys are all like dentists and doctors, and
it is a black hole, that whole place.
They play Halloween every Sunday, but
it's bad. Imagine winning games.
So we will get into the CFP next week. We'll break down the semifinals. We'll have flush picks for you. I have not looked ahead at lines and all that. I assume Notre Dame's favored. I assume Ohio State's favored. But maybe not. Texas is home, so I don't know. But essentially home. So we'll get into that next week. Hopefully you enjoyed something. Hopefully you saw the end of the Arizona State game. So you care about the tournament still. But all right, Vin, we're going to flush wipe dipe now.
Notre Dame and Ohio State are both favored. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, I figured. What's Notre Dame's favored by what?
1.5.
Oh, thought it would be like 4.
No respect for the Irish. No respect. Then you got Ohio State minus the 6, which is a little crazy to me.
Yeah, that's a little bonkers. So Vegas loves them. All right, Vin. Flush wipe dipe. Here's the first one for you. So we've seen 8 teams go down. We've seen many iterations of a college football playoff system, whatever you want to do, whatever you want to call it. We've seen the BCS, we've seen the CFP, we've seen the 12-team CFP. So Vin, going forward, and I know it's a small sample size, we've only seen 1 year of this, and it's not even completed, but going forward in the college football playoff system, would you like to see it go to 4 teams again? Scale it back down to 8 teams? Or keep it at the 12?
So you're never going to see it back down to 4. They make way too much money the way things went.
Right.
Too many. Now you had home games added, so universities made more money for an extra home game if you were in that first round home field. So it's a really interesting question.
Hold that thought. If you're new to the show, welcome. Flush Swipe Dipe is our FMK, Fornicate, Marry, Kill, where I ask Vin a question with 3 options, and he decides flush, swipe, or dipe. Flush is the kill. Wipe is the fornicate, and dipe, you're going to keep that in your little diaper for later. Dipe is the marry. So flush, swipe, or dipe is the question. Where would he like to see the college football playoff go from here? Back to 4, down to 8, keep it at 12.
I would flush 4 because I think it does allow those 1 or 2 lost teams to get in more realistically than, let's say, the Alabamas of the world or the SEC teams that have one losses that get in fairness to the other teams that might be undefeated with a good strength of schedule, and we've seen that happen in the past. I would wipe 12, and I think 8. I think 8 would be sufficient. I think that's a fair number um, to put out there and not oversaturate the situation. But once again, when it comes to economics, there was talk about making it even bigger than 12 than coming up, which I think is insane. So with that being said, I think that 8 would be the I think they should have went to 8 this year, in my opinion, and saw how that worked out, because now going to 12 automatically, now it's like, well, you're not going to go backwards. So I don't think that'll be a possibility, especially with TV, especially with money and how things are and the way the world works. So I would go 4, 12, 8.
Your opinion, do they ever go to 14 or 16?
Yeah, just like I just said, just based off of economics. They don't care about the team that's going to get in at the 14 seed, and it could. I don't know how it would work. It's so different from college basketball, where obviously any seeding in that tournament can beat anybody at any time. It's a different world, and I think that's what they're kind of like looking for, in a sense of like that upset. I told you so. This is why we did this moment. But I think they're a little ways away from that. But I would definitely see that.
Do you see a future where there's like 24 teams, and we have like Tuesday and Wednesday last 4 in games in college football?
It'll be interesting. I just think they really need to come to some sort of clarity with how they get to a certain number, and the ranking system is so tarnished, in my opinion, in certain situations, and we've spoken about it many different times on this podcast in the last couple of weeks, especially. So I think the criteria has to change. I think the seating has to be done differently. I think there's a lot that goes into it. I think there's a lot of work to be done. And do I think of something along the lines of that? I think that's a lot. Football is so different from everything else, especially like you just mentioned. The 4 teams that are in this are all household powerhouse names. How does where does a team in the middle of the road this year, like or the UCF season where they were undefeated and so on and so forth, and how would they have fared in a situation like this? I don't think very well, to be honest with you. Maybe they would have, but it's just a really difficult process, and there's just no definitive answer on it. That's the problem. It's not like in baseball you win your division and your record, they played 162 games. Is it, or football for that matter. But no, I just think it's all based off of economics, and that's the world we live in. And unfortunately, I think you'll see it get to a crazy number at some point. When, I don't know, but it's definitely a possibility.
All right, next question for you. Flush, swipe, or dipe, Vin. I'm going to use the word underachieving. Which one of these 3 underachieving head coaches would you least like to see lift the CFP trophy at the end of the year? We have Ohio State's Ryan Day, Penn State's James Franklin, and I included Texas's Steve Sarkisian. I'm not including Freeman because he's still young, and I don't think anyone would say he's underachieved there. So which one of these 3 underachieving when it comes to titles and trophies would you see? Ryan? Well, I didn't realize Ryan Day was on the Niners staff.
Yeah, with Chip Kelly, I think.
That's hilarious. The picture I pulled, he's wearing a Niners polo. I didn't even realize.
I think he's on the Chip Kelly staff when Chip was there coaching for the 10 games he coached.
All right, so yeah, least like to see lifting that trophy.
Least?
Yeah, least.
Ryan Day and Franklin, because I think their faces are ridiculous. I hate looking at them. They're stupid. Especially Day. I don't know. Franklin's a fucking tough guy too. I just want to see Sark. I would, out of that group, I think he's at I like Sark's story. I like the way he's kind of battled back from his own personal issues, and I think has obviously been taking a chance back from Nick Saban, took him back, and kind of resurrected him. And so I like those kind of stories. I have can care less if Day or Franklin ever coached another game, won another game, lifted any trophies at all, in my opinion. But no, I'm all with Sark on this one. I hope if we're
All right,
talking coaches,
Sark or Freeman?
I
Who would
like
you rather?
Freeman. I like Freeman. I don't like Notre Dame, but he's got me going on that little. I'm not on the bandwagon. I'm on like the big wheel for Notre Dame. But yeah, I mean it's an interesting conversation. I'm still gonna go with Sark. I think from what he's overcome and how he's done it, where he went to and how he had to do things and the failures of USC and so on and so forth, and where he is now, obviously, is a really good situation. Brought that program to places it hasn't been in a very, very long time. Probably Vince Young, if you want to talk in that conversation with Mac Brown and those guys. Um, they're always competitive. They're always supposed to be good, and they'll always wind up, not being what they're supposed to be. But no, I'd still like to see Sark in that.
All right, so you're is that a double flush?
Yeah, you can flush them, you can dump them, you can do whatever.
I hear you. All right, so
And you can throw Dan Lanning in that conversation too. If he never coached another game too, by the moving
he's a
his face
clown. I don't
also.
like him at
Yeah,
all.
it's these guys are. I like he's got a nice little backup story there too, um, but he looks a little. I don't know. I can't take
No,
him.
I'm not a Lanning guy, not a Day guy. Well, you know what? I hope Day keeps his job because he's a punching bag for the school up
Yeah,
north.
Michigan, of course.
But nah, Franklin and Lanning, I can do without.
Yep.
Um, all right, Vin. Last one. We're heading into Week 18 of the NFL.
I would like to see Lane Kiffin one day lift the trophy.
You know what's funny? He's on the graphic. I know you can't see. He's on the graphic. He's staring at James Franklin, and when you go back and watch, you'll see. Um, he's fun, man. I know. I think people outside the SEC don't really like him. I love him. He's fun.
Yep.
If Kelly underperforms, I would swoop and steal him right from Ole Miss if we could. But
Absolutely.
blah 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 blah. All right, last one, Vin. Week 18 is here in the NFL. There are 3 teams on the outside looking in that still have a fighting chance to make the NFL playoffs. So flush, swipe, or dipe, Vin, of these 3 teams that are currently not in the playoffs, looking to get in with some help um, this weekend. Flush, swipe, or dipe, who do you think has the best chance to make the playoffs? We have the Atlanta Falcons, we have the Cincinnati Bengals, and we have the Miami Dolphins. Um, Atlanta is home to the Panthers. They need the Bucks to lose at home to the Saints. The Bengals are uh,
Pittsburgh.
at Pittsburgh tomorrow. They would need both the Dolphins to lose to the Jets without Tua, and the Broncos to lose to the backups at home versus Kansas City. And then Miami, I think Miami just needs the Broncos to lose to Kansas City, and they just need to beat the Jets in New Jersey. So, flush my predict. With all that said, who would you put your money on possibly making the playoffs?
Too many teams. It's interesting because the Buccaneers aren't going to lose to the Saints, in my opinion.
I think that's going to be a good game. Maybe the Saints might rally around the
Spencer
attack.
Rattler. Spencer Rattler.
Yeah, you never know.
It's an
But
interesting.
they're very good. The Bucks are very good. I would like to see them in the playoffs. I think they'd be a little more exciting than Atlanta. And Baker deserves it. Baker's played very well
Yep, I agree. I don't
with a
think the
ton of injuries.
Dolphins. I know Tua is not playing, so I don't really see them winning per se.
No love for Hunley, the former Pro Bowler.
No. Um, yeah, I mean, I would have to. I'm gonna have to go Dolphins and to flush them, wipe the Bengals and dipe the Falcons. Those are really hard scenarios, honestly.
Yeah, the odds are the odds are with you. because Atlanta has the most direct.
And
Right?
that's what. Yeah, I mean that's why if the Chiefs Broncos thing is the big obviously elephant in the room. You need the Chiefs don't have anybody playing, and
Are they
the
benching like their whole defense?
I don't know, but the Broncos are favored by a lot, like 10 at home
Yeah,
against
it's like
them
10
right
and a
now. So
half.
I don't even I mean, I understand it, but yeah, no, I mean that's the way it's gonna have to be. I think the Falcons have the easiest kind of way in at this point.
So
I
how does
really think it's interesting too how they decided to just get rid of Cousins at that point, and knowing that you do have a chance, and I think you have the best chance. I think would be with him. I mean, I
he
don't,
was so
especially
bad though.
this
When his bad
this
games, Vin,
late.
were so
I
bad.
know, and then there's conversation already about people that are interested in him for next year, and I'm like, well, if he's that bad, what are we talking about?
I don't know, but this was brought up. This discussion. Do you think part of the Chiefs' mentality this weekend is we don't want Burrow in,
Yeah,
or do you?
it
Yeah,
should be. It should be.
you think that Andy Reid is like we'd rather the Broncos get it, or do you think he's not? I guess the question is, was it a thought at all, or not at all? They just want to rest.
I don't know. I don't want to.
Do
I
you
will.
think NFL teams and coaches and front offices think that way?
Yes, I do. I would. I mean, who would you rather play? You're Andy Reid. You want to play? You want to have a chance of Joe Burrow coming into town?
I don't know. I
You got to.
when you
It's got to
really
be a
look at it,
conversation.
because this is the Week 18 game, that Broncos defense and Bo Nix is not really going to see your playbook twice.
Right.
But in a normal season, they would have seen the playbook twice. Their defense is 2 times better than Cincinnati's. But Cincinnati could put, 38 points on anyone. So I don't know. I don't know if that's really how teams think. I don't know. Maybe I'm in
I don't
La La
know.
Land there.
No, it's a fair question. I just don't. I mean, I didn't realize how good Patrick Surtain was this year. By the way,
I don't
he's
know.
like
I mean,
he's
Andy Reid is very good off the bye, right? But
yeah.
we'll see. All right.
We'll
That's
see.
what's up?
No, we'll see. I mean, it's a really it just sucks that it's week 18 and this is kind of like the Bengals like, which I'm not a Bengals fan by any means. I just think Joe Burrow has played his face off this year, and he's got nothing to show for it except for having to wait for other teams to beat other teams to get in a playoff, which is wild. But they had
Yeah,
17 weeks to do it.
their defense literally just had to make one play in like one of 4 games this year. That
Yep,
sucks.
I know.
And I don't think Josh Allen is the MVP.
You don't have a vote.
I should, but
We can find out if we can get you in.
I'd put Lamar, Burrow, and Saquon.
Yeah.
And even what Chase is doing, Chase is going to win the Triple Crown, I'm sure. It's more impressive than Josh Allen just kind of running around and
Broken
running
hand,
it in
2
from the
seed. That's hard.
vulturing TDs from James Cook. So
All right.
anyway, all right, Vin, let's talk some NFL.
NFL 2 games tomorrow, Saturday, 4:30 start. Browns at the Ravens. The Ravens minus the 20. I think the Browns. I don't know. That line's ridiculous. Are the Ravens playing? I guess they're playing everybody.
Well, the Ravens. So what's at stake here?
Yep. Tell the people.
If the Ravens win, they win the North. If the Ravens lose and the Steelers beat the Bengals later that night, the Steelers win the North. If the Steelers just lose, period, I think the Ravens get the North. So Ravens are playing for something.
I mean, 20
They're playing for
a lot.
I believe it would be the 3 seed.
Okay.
I don't know about that for sure, but the Ravens are playing for the. So are the Steelers.
Bengals at the Steelers Saturday night at 8:00 at Pittsburgh. Not Three Rivers anymore, but would be nice if it was.
It's not Hines either.
It's not Hines anymore either. It's some bank or some nonsense. Yeah, it's some whatever. Steelers, Bengals minus the 2.5. Steelers, Bengals minus 2.5 at the Steelers. You can give me Joe Burrow and the Bengals here. They're gonna do anything and everything possible to obviously win, But I just don't. The Steelers in the last couple of weeks have gone backwards, um, and they have a lot of negative
If you get a
offensive
lead on the
situations.
Steelers, they can't come back. They have no
Done.
big
Zero.
playability, especially when Pickens was out. Pickens
Yep.
is their only guy out there.
He's a child, by the way.
I didn't see any.
He's just
I
a
don't
big,
know
like on the
anything.
sideline. He's such a he's like another Antonio Brown on the sideline. Like if he
Huh.
doesn't get his way and doesn't get the ball, he's always throwing a fit. He's like a child. It's
I
unbelievable.
think he's requested a trade like 3 different seasons.
Yeah,
I don't even
he's
know if
like
he's been
Jimmy
in the league 3
Butler.
years. But,
Everybody wants a trade.
well, they don't want him back, so Jimmy's just beating them to the punch.
Yeah. All right.
Well, no, Riley had an ugly ending with LeBron too, so
I get it.
It's two egos.
I don't, but I get it. Yeah, whatever.
But well, back to the Browns. Like, are they going to show any fight?
No. Why would they?
You think the Ravens cover?
Yes.
So if the finals like 27 to 6.
Yeah. It also depends on if they go up early and they're gonna be like second half. We're gonna put you know.
You don't think they throw Jameson? Just be like, hey, give us a shot.
No.
No, they should. Whatever.
I
don't know what pick they're looking to get, but
DTR, they drafted him for a reason, to play a little bit. Maybe see what he has, because they're talking about Kirk Cousins and Deshaun Watson next year together.
DTR.
Imagine that.
DTR, I kind of liked him his rookie year, but looked terrible against the Dolphins.
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, give me the Bengals. They're playing for something. They're hot. Steelers, like you said, they're backpedaling into the playoffs. So give me the Ravens to definitely win. I'd like to see the Browns do something, but they probably won't. Give me the Bengals to win.
Sunday's matchup: Panthers at the Falcons. Falcons minus the 7.5. Gonna go. This is gonna be a little bit closer than the 7.5. I think the Panthers for the last couple of weeks have been playing pretty good football. I think Bryce Young's played a lot better since he came back. Assuming that everybody's playing for the Panthers, which I don't. I mean, Adam Thielen last week turned the clock back. Looked like 2020 again, or 19, or whatever you want to call it. But he looked pretty good.
Feeling good.
Feeling good. Panthers cover, Falcons win. In my opinion, in this game, I'm not. Whatever, the Falcons are. We're supposed to be a lot better than they are, I guess. I don't really care.
Might be my flush pick, so I'm gonna keep my mouth shut.
All right, let's move on then. Let's move on to the other game in that situation. Saints at the Bucks. Bucks minus the 14 here. I like a lot of points in this game. And I like the Bucks here too. There's no letting off the gas pedal when the Bucks are going. They're going and they're putting up a lot of points. And I have a feeling that this is a game that Baker's gonna put the pedal all the way down to the floor and not let go until the clock's hit 0. And I think they're gonna win big in this game.
All right, I don't know. I think the Saints might show some fight. It's a big spread. I would not touch this game.
They're terrible.
I know, but
like Pierre Thomas isn't playing. Like nobody like that's playing.
Who?
Pierre Thomas. Remember Pierre Thomas? You'll run it back.
I thought you meant Michael. That's a throwback. That's a throwback. I like it.
That guy's a disaster too.
So yeah, I don't love it, but yeah, I guess the Bucks win and cover. Wouldn't touch that. Would not touch that.
Vikings at the Lions, Sunday Night Football. This is a big matchup right here. This is to the Bengals Steelers game. Those are 1A and 1B of games of the week that actually matter and are probably going to be good, somewhat football games. I really expect the Bengals to kind of take it to the Steelers, but
you could say this matters most.
Vikings at the Lions. Lions minus the 2.5 in the old Silver Dome, but it's not the Dome anymore. I'm taking the Vikings here. Vikings win. Take the number 1 seed, right?
Yeah. There are other races, like the Packers are playing for seeding, so are the Commanders. But this is for the bye, the number 1 seed in the NFC, which the Lions had locked up not too many weeks ago. So it's interesting. Lions are not healthy, but they're still very talented. They are at home, but I think I'm with you. I think I'm unless Sam Darnold turns into a pumpkin, I think Minnesota might pull this off. I think the Vikings get this win. Should be a great fun game. That Detroit crowd, I'm sure, will be pretty amped up. But I think the Vikings might do it. They just feel healthier, and even though Gibbs is a stud and St. Brown's a stud and Jameson Williams can score from the opposite one at any given moment. But yeah, I think I'm with you here. I think
All
the
right.
Vikings might pull this off. They're just so well coached, and they don't take stupid risks
Nope,
like
not at
like
all. That's the
like
one
Dan
thing I will
Campbell.
agree with. Yeah, no, I mean that's true too. Yeah, he thinks this is playing Madden with your
Like
buddy. Something.
American Gladiators.
Great show, by the way. I used to watch it every Saturday morning.
What was your favorite event?
What was it? The gauntlet at the end. I just
Yeah.
love them pelting people with tennis balls. So
Tennis
that
balls.
epic-
I
epic
always
game.
wanted to shoot. I always wanted to do that. I always wanted to shoot the tennis balls.
And what was the other one?
Joust was cool.
What was the one where they had to like slam like they
ball
palm
in
the
the
ball?
middle.
Yeah, like you had to
And
like
they
beat
would
the
get
defender.
they would get
Oh, they get
pummeled.
Yeah, they get
Balls kicked in.
or
Forgot
other
the
objects.
name. It
But
was like you had to like you pretty much had to throw something in the garbage without getting
Yeah,
pummeled.
you had to get it to the middle can, pretty much.
All right, that is it for the NFL preview. Flush picks are up next.
Assault? Was it assault? No.
It might have been.
Atmosphere. Breakthrough and conquer.
I just smacked my mic. All right, so flush picks for Week 18. I mentioned it a little earlier. I'm taking the Falcons to cover. They're playing for something. I think they're going to feed Bijan like they've never fed him before. If this game was in Carolina, I would take Carolina to cover, but that's kind of what I'm doing with my second pick in a little kind of, but even though they're on the road. So my second pick, I'm taking the Jags to cover the 5 against the Colts. The Colts are going with, I believe, Flacco. I think the Jags. I think Mac Jones and Brian Thomas want to finish strong. And the coach down there, I think he wants to get a win before they probably fire him first thing Monday morning. So I'm taking the Falcons minus 7.5. It's a big spread, but they want to get in. And I think Penix is legit. He's still got to improve, but I like what I saw against the Commanders. And then give me Mac Jones.
Mac Jones.
To get one more, at least cover. They don't have to win. And then Vin, you want me to read yours or you want to go for it?
I can give you my picks if you guys would like to hear my voice.
Go for it.
Touched on it earlier. Saints Bucks over 43.5. I think if all goes according to plan, and you're saying what you're saying about the Saints rallying here and Tampa putting up a good amount of points like they usually do, I think that game should go over the 43.5. And then my favorite quarterback in the NFL next to Burrow right now will be Sam Darnold. I will take the Vikings plus the 2.5 here, just off of everything that you said, the coaching especially. And Campbell's not. There's not a knock on Dan Campbell. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that team is very disciplined, and there is no 4th and 25, and they're going to go for it on their own 10. That's not what they do. So I think that health and everything that comes into it too. I think it's going to be a great game, and there might be a lot of points in that game scored too. So
can I bring up one thing about the Vikings?
I hope they wear the all-white
uniforms. No, go ahead.
No, do you remember a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago, when Daniel Jones signed with the Vikings and you asked if he was going to start?
I just asked what his potential is to play.
They're rolling. They don't need no Daniel Jones. Speaking of quarterbacks,
Guess.
the Niners are starting. What's his name this weekend?
Dobbs.
Interesting.
They gave up 3 weeks ago.
Did you hear that Purdy came back last year early from injuries, so Darnold didn't play and steal his
No,
job
I
potentially?
don't believe that at all.
I heard that. I heard that this morning.
Somebody made that up.
He's a Niner fan. The guy who said it.
That doesn't make sense.
I don't know. I heard Purdy was nervous. Maybe he knew. He knew before everyone else that
I guess
Darnold was
because I
legit.
love. If that's the case, I wish he was that nervous this year to go back to the Super Bowl.
All right, everyone. It's our last segment before the weekend. You know what time it is. It's the Pop Culture Minute.
God.
No. Vin. Two guys collaborated on an album for the first time since 1993. Came out, I believe, a week or so ago. Snoop Dogg and Dre released Missionary.
Cool.
First full length album they collaborated since Doggy Style in 1993. Did you know of it? Have you listened to it? Anything to do with Missionary from Snoop Dogg and Dre?
Oh, it's called Missionary.
Yes, the
I thought
album
it was
cover
like-
is like a condom wrapper.
Oh, okay, cool. So I think I saw an interview recently with Snoop and Dre together, which I thought was interesting. I didn't look too much into it. I don't know where they were, but I didn't think anything of like them going back together and doing anything. I kind of lost a lot of respect for Snoop when he became like Snoop Lion. At one point, I think he was like he thought he was a reggae guy all of a sudden. I mean, the guy from Compton is tough to sell as a reggae star. So Snoop Lion kind of threw me out of Snoop, but I love him on The Voice.
Oh, you're a voice guy.
I watch it. The kids like it. You know what Valentina likes when they smack the thing and then they turn around. You know,
My
she likes
girl's
Reba. She likes Reba. Well, she did like Reba.
my girl's gonna be judging American Idol this year, first time ever.
Who's that?
Carrie Underwood.
Wow.
Congratulations to Carrie.
I haven't heard anything about it. I think it'll be interesting. Have you heard anything of it? Is it good?
So when I was researching how long it's been since they collabed,
Yeah.
I saw a 3.7 rating on Google. I doubt there were many votes, but I
Out
did
of
see
what?
one comment that said it's like album of the year. But
Out of 5?
3 out of but I don't.
Okay.
That means nothing. I think people do like it, but I just think it came out so close to Kendrick Lamar's album, which everyone loves,
Really?
that I don't think it. Yeah, people love Kendrick. And
Is that the guy who drives around on like a city bike and hangs out just like normal in Manhattan?
I think Kendrick's a Cali guy. No.
Okay, so then I'm thinking of somebody else with dreads.
He's always like a cool guy. I thought.
I don't know. I don't know enough.
No, you're probably right. I'm probably.
You thinking of J. Cole?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of.
Okay.
I like him because he seems like a normal dude.
No, Kendrick apparently dropped a freaking, I'll say
Monster.
banger.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, apparently he crushed it with his latest album, and I just think that this album might have come out too close to it.
Is that a thing still? Like albums and like people purchasing them and like.
It's not about purchase. It's like
you go to Coconut.
I don't think they announce anything, and then all of a sudden you wake up and
oh yeah,
your feed is like, oh my god, Beyonce's album, she dropped it at midnight, it's crushing, or Kendrick's album, Taylor Swift, blah blah, and then the whole Drake Kendrick battle, which I did not get into. By all accounts, everything I've seen, and everyone I've watched or listened to talk about it, Kendrick eviscerated him.
Yeah,
his
what
songs
I heard too.
His songs are so much damn better. That's
My feed's a little different. I wake up to John Heyman, and
yeah, but there's nothing going on.
I know, but I'm just telling you what world I live in.
He keeps saying, oh, the Pete and the Mets are still a possibility, but they're far off. Like, and now the Angels want Pete. I don't.
Good, go out there. That's fine. Go ahead.
I do know that Santander was in Toronto for New Year's Eve.
The Mets are interested in him too, supposedly.
I would love him.
I mean, he would be an ideal DH, to be honest with you.
He could play outfield. He could play first. He could DH. But
no, that's. Yeah. I didn't mean to change the subject here. My feed is a little bit different from Beyonce, but no,
that was mine. But I do get the.
The only things that I get sometimes
trickle down to me.
I'll get like, and if there should be any reunion album, and I think they did one last year. I didn't listen to it, but you know, I'm always like Wu-Tang and those guys. I think we should always kind of do something all together. But like my feed is like some of those guys like just freestyling and just doing some, that's my music. It's
old rap, old school guys. I couldn't tell you last time I bought an album or anything like that, or CD.
Fat Joe and Ja Rule were on Dick Clark's Rockin' Eve.
Okay.
That's
and
cool.
Who's the guy with the eye patch?
Snow?
Informer?
I don't even remember.
You don't remember Informer? Snow? Jesus.
Is he rocking an eye patch? Was he out there?
No,
LA?
he's definitely not wearing an eye patch. An eye patch?
I don't even know. That's new to me. I don't know. Who's got an eye patch? Interesting.
I'm looking.
Eye patch. Interesting. Don't forget SmackDown tonight.
It's 3 hours tonight. That's brutal.
Is it tonight's the night?
Yeah, it goes to. All right, hold on. Slick Rick, Dougie Fresh. One of them had an eye patch on for sure.
Interesting. I never thought either one of them had one.
Ja Rule, Fat Joe, Slick Rick, and Dougie Fresh.
Okay, that's an unbelievable group of people that I never would thought would be together.
They were together out celebrating the New Year. But yeah, as for I don't know what's going on. I just want the Rumble to get here and people to return, and I don't know what's going on. But any thoughts on SmackDown before we get out of here?
I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know. I feel like with this change to Netflix, that things are just gonna kind of like
go in a weird direction for both brands at this point, and things that are going on are gonna be like completely changed. And I don't know. I 3 hours is too long no matter what. So
now here's my question, and I don't think the wrestlers even know. I feel like Raw will end at a different time every Monday now.
Yeah, I don't think there's rules. I think it's gonna be like yeah.
It might end at 11:30 sometimes. It might end at 10:45, right?
When does it start? I don't have a Netflix account, so I'm not watching Raw.
Monday.
I'm not watching Raw anymore.
Starts Monday.
Unless Too Cold Scorpio comes back, I'm not watching.
Maybe we can solve that problem for you, and we'll talk off here. But all right. Everyone have a safe weekend. Enjoy the pro
Week
football. 18. Yeah, enjoy Week 18. Let's go Bengals. Let's go Vikings. And that's it. And then Vin, I'll give you the last word. Say goodbye to the beautiful people.
Maybe next week you can put up some ESPN2 highlights of Pro Beach hockey.
It escaped my memory when you brought that up.
Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy Week 18. We'll be back with college football playoffs, NFL playoff picture, and a lot to talk about next week. Hopefully, I don't have to wake up to John Newman telling me that Pete Alonso's not a Mets though.
Let's go Angels. Open up that pocketbook. Let's go Mariners. Open up that pocketbook. End this. Get Pete Alonso out of here. I don't want him back.
Let's go. He doesn't want to be here.
Thank you for your service, but Boris.
Sign Santander.
Not the guy. Yeah. Sign Bregman and Santander and Roki Sasaki. Goodbye, people.
Goodbye.